Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to Christmas in Arkham. This week we're going to start the campaign with our game of Eldritch Horror. If you recall from when we played this game for the first time back in September, link to both parts of that playthrough will be in the description down below. In this game we're playing the familiar cast of investigators traveling around the world trying to solve mysteries related to the Ancient One we're playing against. With that, let's go ahead and drop down and meet our adversary in Eldritch Horror. Alright, so here's our Ancient One in Eldritch Horror. We are playing against Ithaqua for Christmas in Arkham, the Windwalker. You can see here his Ancient One sheet. This is what we used when we first introduced Ithaqua in the intro video, link to which will also be in the description down below. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Ithaqua. So you can see here he starts off with 13 Doom. When we zoom out to the board, I'll point that out. On a Reckoning, each investigator gains a hypothermia condition unless they spend one focus. So we need to be very protective of our foci in this game. When 3 mysteries have been solved, the investigators win the game. When Ithaqua awakens, flip this sheet and resolve the Ithaqua awakens effect on the back. Then the flavor text. The weather has grown cold, and the aurora borealis glows bright in the northern skies, visible even during the day. A strange madness has begun affecting those around the Arctic Circle, and travelers returning from the north speak of visions of an ancient civilization. Covered in endless winter. That sounds like it's going to be fun. Anyway, our cultists, as you can see over here. We have no will test on the cultists, straight strength, need 2 health to not take damage, 1 toughness to take them out, but if you lose health from the strength test, the cold chills you to your core, gain a hypothermia condition. As part of setup, we also had to set aside a Nofke monster, a Wendigo, and all special encounters, which I've done all that, so let's take a look at our set aside monsters. So here's our Nofke. I think there's still 1 in the bag left, so that icon means it's got special spawn instructions. That icon, as we also see on Ithaqua's sheet, means it's got a reckoning with it. Let's take a look at the back. Straight will, need 1 success to not lose sanity. Strength -2, need 2 successes to not take damage. 3 toughness to kill it. When this monster is spawned, move it to the Himalayas. And on a reckoning, each investigator on the space loses 1 health. Now we'll take a look at the Wendigo. We see we have no reckoning or spawn instructions on this one. Straight will, 1 success to not lose sanity. Strength -1, need 3 successes to not take damage. 2 toughness to kill. And if you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, roll 1 die. On a 1 or a 2, gain a hunger condition. So we'll need to be careful about defeating that. But anyway, and then we've also built the Mythos deck. We built that off camera. This could be a little bit of an annoying Ancient One because you get both of your rumors right off the bat. So that is something to very much be aware of as you're playing through the game, especially in the early stages. Anyway, that will do it for the Ancient One. Now let's go meet our heroes. Here's our first investigator, Jenny Barnes. As you recall from the story, she's the mysterious benefactor of the original expedition. Pay no attention to these encounters for now. Those will be encounters that can happen later if we end up losing the investigators during the course of the game. But let's take a quick look at Jenny's bio, then we'll go through her starting possessions and her personal story. So first up, her biography. Born to wealth and privilege, Jenny has spent most of her young life in the most fashionable nightclubs around the world, but her life of decadence came to an abrupt halt when she received an ominous letter from her sister Isabel. In the letter, Isabel reported being followed by mysterious men wearing hoods and robes. When Jenny investigated, she learned that her sister had been kidnapped to an island in the Caribbean. Jenny will use her wealth and international connections to find Isabel and punish the men who took her. Then on the sheet that we're actually concerned with, Jenny Barnes the Dilettante. Action. You or another investigator on a city space may perform an Acquire Assets action and gain +2 influence during that action. And then her passive. Once per round, when you or another investigator gains a debt condition, that investigator may discard that condition. Once again, I'll mention this as well for my playthrough back in September. I think I played Jenny for that one as well. Yes, I think I did. But you're going to hear me talk a lot about what's called a debt wipe. When I'm talking about the debt wipe, I'm talking about Jenny's passive. So just so you're clear on that. And flavor text, my sister was taken. I will pay any amount to save her. 7 health, 5 sanity to start with. Stat line of 1 lore, 4 influence, 2 observation, 3 strength, 3 will. Then, as I don't think I mentioned this, but Jenny does start at space 8 in the Caribbean, and I'll point that out when we move back over to the board. Anyway, Jenny's starting possessions, she starts off with a ship ticket, which she can use to move along a ship path after her extra move. Then for her starting possessions, first she's got a 25 automatic. Item weapon, roll 1 additional die when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. And she's also got fine jewelry. I'll place this back in the slot here. By the way, these dashboards that you're seeing are from Underbites. I'll provide a link to their Etsy shop in the description down below. Anyway, fine jewelry is a trinket. You may add 1 to the result of 1 die when performing an influence test during an acquire assets action. So Jenny's primary job in this game is to rip through the reserve and get us good stuff out. And then get the good stuff once she gets it into the reserve out. Anyway, that will do it for Jenny. Now let's go meet our second investigator. Oh, before we go meet her second investigator, let's take a look at her personal story. Search for Isabel. Izzy is a smart girl. She's okay. At least, that is what you keep telling yourself. Still, you have to find her. And fast. When you gain this card, place 3 random clues face up on this card. After resolving an encounter on one of those spaces, discard that clue. Then, if there are no clues on this card, discard this card and gain the Isabel reward. When Doom advances to 6 or lower, discard this card and gain the Too Late consequence. Let's go ahead and get those 3 clues out. And we just have to have an encounter on that space. It doesn't matter what kind of encounter we have, and even combat encounters count for that as well. Anyway, Jenny's first clue is going to take us to Buenos Aires. Barring anything unusual, I think I know what her first stop's going to be. But I also want to mention that these clues are not the clues that came with the game. The clues that came with the game are actually pretty beat up because I played this game a lot. These clues come from another Etsy store called By Your Command. I will also provide a link to their shop in the description down below. Anyway, we'll put that on Search for Isabel and we'll get another clue out. Jenny's second clue will be taking us to Space 17, okay. And then for her last clue, will be taking us to Space 1. Okay, I'll point out where everything is situated once we move over to the board. Anyway, now that will do it for Jenny. Now let's go meet our second investigator. Here's our second investigator, Lily Chen. She'll start off in Shanghai, China. Once again, disregard the encounters. We'll get those later. Lily speaks rarely, and when she does, her words are measured and wise. After a lifetime of disciplined training, every gesture is graceful, uncluttered by hesitation. When she was an infant, an obscure sect of monks believed that she was born for a special purpose, to face a great evil. Now, the monks believe that the great evil is at hand, and they have brought Lily to Shanghai to begin fulfilling her destiny. Then on the other side, we see that she is the martial artist. As an action, spend any number of health or sanity, then recover an equal number of health or sanity. When you improve a skill, you may immediately improve that skill again. I have been preparing to confront this evil for entire life. My focus must be absolute. 6 health and sanity. 2's on, for her stat line, 2's on lore, influence, and observation. 4 strength, 3 will. We'll bring Lily over to Shanghai. Then for her personal story, all that stands. You close your eyes and focus your energy inward, slowing your heart to a steady, powerful beat. Everything you are was made for this. Everything you will become depends on it. This is the moment. When you have improved each of your skills, discard this card and gain the Chosen One reward. When Doom advances to 6 or lower, discard this card and gain the Doomed to Failure consequence. So we want to work on improving Lily's skills as fast as we can. Anyway, I've moved Lily over to the board as well. That will do it for Lily. Now let's drop down and meet our third investigator. Our third investigator, as you recall, is Monterey Jack. Let's take a look at his bio. He will start off at the pyramids. He'll move over to the board in a second. Young Jack traveled the world with his father's archaeological expeditions. He acquired the nickname Monterey after a bout of quinine-induced jaundice turned his skin yellow. Once grown, Jack became an accomplished archaeologist in his own right. Now he must explore his own past. His father was found murdered with an arcane sigil carved into the old man's forehead. Here in Cairo, he has seen men wearing the sigil on pendants around their neck. It is time for Jack to start digging. Then we take a look at the archaeologist on the front. As an action, you may discard 1 artifact to retreat Doom by 1, or discard the top card of the Expedition Encounter deck and perform 1 additional action. After resolving an Expedition Encounter, gain 1 relic unique asset. To find a treasure like this, I'll risk a few poison darts. 7 health, 5 sanity. Stat line 2's on lore, influence, and will. So 3 observation, 4 strength. So we'll move Monty over to the pyramids, and we'll see that's a space I'm very happy to see him at, because we'll take a look at his personal story next. Searching ages past. History whispers, Monterey. All you have to do is listen. Your father's words echo in your mind. You will make him proud. After resolving an expedition encounter, place 1 Eldritch token on this card. Then, if there are 3 Eldritch tokens on this card, discard this card and gain the Nothing Stays Hidden reward. At the end of the encounter phase, if there are clues on the game board equal to or greater than Investigators plus 6, discard this card and gain the Dug Too Deep consequence. Okay, so we want to chase down expedition encounters, but we don't want to let clues get on the board. Anyway, let's go through Monterey's starting possessions. We'll start off with the Bullwhip. Gain +1 strength during combat encounters. You may reroll 1 die when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. So he might be doing a decent amount of fighting. Then we have the treasure map. When you gain this card, place 1 random clue face up on this card. After resolving a location encounter or an expedition encounter on that space, flip this card. And it might be a little hard to see, but we ended up with space 13, and when we move over to the board, I'll point out where everything is, for Jenny's personal story and for that. But anyway, that will do it for Monty. Now let's go meet the last investigator on the team. Our last investigator is Diana Stanley. Let's take a look at her bio first. When Diana was initiated into the Order of the Silver Twilight, she believed it to be nothing more than a community organization, but as she has learned more of its true nature, she has become convinced that a growing evil threatens the world, and that the Silver Twilight will play a role in that threat. She believes her best chance to prevent this is to use her position to sabotage the Order from within. Carl Sanford, the head of the Order, has recognized her skills and recently sent her to Panama for additional training. So she will be starting at Space 7. Then we'll take a look at this side. Diana is the redeemed cultist. Action: if there's a cultist monster on your space, discard all monsters on that space, or move the cultist monster to any other space. Reduce the horror of all monsters you encounter to 1. The Lodge is not as... not as innocent as they pretend. I have learned that nothing is ever as it seems, myself included. 7 health, 5 sanity. Stat line, 4 lore, 2 influence, 3 observation and strength, 1 will. Thus her passive letting her reduce the horror of monsters she encounters to 1. Not by 1, to 1. So, anyway, Diana's personal story up last. Bound by the past, to atone for things that you have done, to free yourself from the shackles of your own making, but can you truly escape what you were? When you discard a monster as part of your action ability, you may place it on this card. Then, if the total toughness of monsters on this card is 8 or greater, discard this card and gain the redeemed reward. At the end of the encounter phase, if there are 3 or more cultists on the game board, discard this card and gain the One of Us consequence. So we definitely need to keep the cultists under control, but as we've seen with what we're looking at with Ithaqua, that might be moderately hard to do. But with that, let's go ahead and move over to the board so we can finish setup. Alright, so we're over here at the board. First I'll point out a few minor details. So there's our 13 Doom where Ithaqua starts. I've put a marker at 6 Doom because 2 of our personal stories fail when we get down to 6 Doom. So that's just a reminder for me to say, hey, we've got to keep an eye on those personal stories. Anyway, first up we'll take a look at Jenny's personal story. Her clues are taking her to Buenos Aires, Space 1, and Space 17. So not terribly scattered. I think the plan here might be to go for Buenos... But depending on how the initial gates fall, going right to Buenos Aires might not be a terrible idea. Unfortunately, I can't get to Space 1 or Space 17 from the Caribbean, so that'll probably take me a couple of turns to do, but I imagine I'll be able to manage that. Also, Monty's treasure map is going to take him all the way up to Space 13, which might not be a terrible thing either. Maybe I can hit another expedition encounter or 2 on the way. But anyway, we do need to finish up setup. So what we need to do for that is, let's see, we've got the reference card off to the side. Doom's already been placed. Yeoman Track is on the green comet. Top 4 cards of the reserve. So we've got our first 4 cards here, we just need to flip them up. So starting off in the reserve, we'll have Grim Lexicon. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gain 1 clue. Reduce the horror of monsters you encounter by 1 to a minimum of 1. So not that useful for Diana, but almost anybody else can make use of that. Card 2 in the reserve. Carbine Rifle. Once per round, you may gain plus, what is that? 3 strength? That's 5 strength during a combat encounter. Next up, Otherworld Codex. Gain +1 lore and +1 will. Play with the top card of the gate stack revealed. This could be very good to get into somebody's hands. Like, I'm thinking Diana may be a good one to have this. And... come on. There we go. An Ankh. Gain +2 lore when resolving spell effects. Gain +2 will when resolving combat encounters. Ooh. There's a lot here I want to get into Diana's hands as fast as I can, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Also, I should point out our starting expedition encounter space is on the pyramids, and barring anything crazy, Monterey Jack is going nowhere. But let's see what happens next, because we also have to spawn gates. So our first gate will start the game at the pyramids. Fantastic. So we definitely need to get rid of... well, our only hope now is to hope that that whatever monster is going to end up here moves away. Now, it's not likely, but there are monsters, and we'll grab the monster bag. It's not likely, but there are monsters that will move. Or maybe we get something that we can just deal with. The Colorado Spacers thankfully will not stay there. At least if I remember right, it won't stay here. It does have spawn instructions, so let's see what's on the back. Straight will, 2 successes to not lose sanity, 2 toughness to kill it. When this monster is spawned, move it to Tunguska. Okay. After resolving the will test, roll 1 die. On a 5 or a 6, defeat this monster. So that is a relief that we get rid of the... that the monster doesn't stay, so we can still do the expedition encounter, and I probably will. Place the active expedition on the space that corresponds to the illustration, which we did that. It's on Tunguska, or not Tunguska, the pyramids. So Monty is almost certainly staying put. Then we spawn 2 clues. Our first 2 clues, I managed to get 2 out of the bag. Are Space 9 and Shanghai. So Space 9 is up here in Greenland, which is a wilderness space, and then Shanghai is right over here on top of Lily. So depending on the mystery, we may be able to get something of a jump on that. Anyway, we spawned clues. And now we got our first mystery. So here are our Ithaqua mysteries. We'll give those a shuffle. And a cut. And here's our first mystery. Growing hunger. An unnatural hunger has begun to manifest. There have been disturbing reports of towns tearing themselves apart, the citizens feasting upon their fellow neighbors before turning on one another. When this card enters play, place 1 Eldritch token on each of the following spaces: 1, 5, 14, and 16. As an encounter, an investigator on a space containing an Eldritch token may confront the cannibals. A Wendigo monster ambushes him. If he defeats it, he may spend 2 clues to place that Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos Phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to half the investigators, solve this mystery. And it just so happens that Jenny's personal story is also taking us up to Space 1, but we need clues first. So we need to clue on Space 1, 5, 14, and 16. So 4 city spaces. Looks like we've got Juneau, Alaska. Looks like we've got Juneau, Alaska, Chicago. I'm trying to think what part of Scandinavia that is. Is that like Riga, Latvia, maybe? And that seems like central Russia up there. So I'll put that mystery there. And now we have our prelude as well. So I did all this last night. Weakness to strength is our prelude. They say when a man loses the use of one of his senses, that over the years his other senses will grow and become stronger. This allows him to sense things he never would have been able to before. Unfortunately, time is a luxury that you can ill afford, and while the prospect of honing yourself to perfection appeals to you, in this case, you think you would rather just have a gun. After resolving setup, which we've done, each investigator resolves up to 2 effects of their choice. You may impair lore to gain 2 random tome assets from the deck, then discard 1. You may impair influence to gain 2 task unique assets, then discard 1. You may impair observation to gain 2 talent conditions, then discard 1 of them. You may impair strength to gain 2 random weapon assets from the deck, then discard 1. You may impair will to gain a boon condition. Well, the only one who can't do one of those effects is... Actually, there are 2 investigators who can't do 1 effect each. So Jenny already has 1 lore. You can't impair a skill below that. So Jenny can't impair lore. Not that I'd want to anyway. Similarly, Diana can't impair will further to gain a boon condition. And that's one I wouldn't mind doing. Looking at our investigators, though, I think everybody is going to impair strength to get weapon assets. So we'll grab strength impairments all across the board. Let's see here. Unlike the tokens from from the clue tokens, these are tokens that came with the game. Although I might have to fix that over Christmas. Just a random musing on my part. And it's up to 2, so I think everybody is going to impair strength. There are 4 strength impairment tokens. We'll pass those out so we can get some firepower out. We'll look at Jenny first. So we'll go for 2 weapons here. Take the first 2 we see. Axe. And a Gatling gun. I know which one Jenny's keeping. Jenny is absolutely keeping the Gatling gun. Just at a glance, but we'll go through them both very quick, but... So for the first weapon Jenny found as possible, bring this in a little closer, was the axe. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters. You may spend 2 sanity to reroll any number of dice when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Now, sanity is something that our team is kind of hurting on, so I definitely want to protect that as much as I can. And then we have the Gatling gun. Gain +5 strength during combat encounters. You may reroll 2 dice with matching results when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Yeah, Jenny will definitely take the Gatling gun when given a choice between those 2. We'll shuffle this back in. Then we'll go to Lily next for her weapons. Then we'll go into the second stack here for Lily's possible 2 weapons. Let's see here. Remember, we're looking for weapons here. Blunderbuss, oh god, and 38 revolver. Well, it's better than nothing, I suppose. So the blunderbuss. When resolving a combat encounter, you may gain +2 strength. If you do, each 6 you roll when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter counts as 2 successes, and each one negates 1 success. Or 38 revolver. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters. Now, if I was playing this carefully, I would probably take the 38 revolver because I'd rather have a consistent 2 strength during combat encounters. But the 2 strength but the blunderbuss 6 counts 2, 1's negate 1 success. I think we're going to risk it here. I think we are going to take the blunderbuss, even though it's probably way against my better judgment, but I will go ahead and take the blunderbuss for Lily. We've already gotten some very good firepower here. All right. I mean, it's hard to argue with the Gatling gun coming out right away. So Jenny is definitely set to defend herself. And Monty will go into the... We'll go into the third stack for Monty. Once again, we want 2 weapons. The Arcane Blade is 1. And the 32 Colt Pocket. That was easy. Okay. Alright, so we have the Arcane Blade first. Item magical weapon. The other 2 were regular weapons. Gain +2 strength when resolving combat encounters. Gain +2 lore when resolving spell effects. Then on the 32 Colt Pocket, Come on. There we go. Roll 1 additional die when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. You may reroll 1 die when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Now, while I'm thinking about this, I do want to explain something that's a slight quirk of this game. So, when an item says gain, if you have several items that say gain plus a stat to something, when you resolve a test, you get the highest among them. So, let's say you have a +2. Or let's say Monty took the Arcane Blade and with the Bullwhip, he would get the +2 on the Arcane Blade, but he could still use the reroll on the Bullwhip. Conversely, the roll 1 additional die effect, those effects all stack. So if you get several effects that say you get to reroll such and such additional dice, then you can use all of those plus whatever your highest stat boost is. So because of that, there is a temptation, though, to take the Arcane Blade, but I think there's a better item for Diana, and I'd have passing the Arcane Blade to Diana in mind. So Monty, I think, is going to take the 32 Colt Pocket, and we'll shuffle the Arcane Blade back in. All right. And then we need weapons. We need a weapon for Diana as well. So we'll go here. Once again, we want 2 weapons. Not a weapon. Not a weapon, but I would not mind seeing that at all. Tommy gun. Ooh, this is going to be a tough decision. Actually, is it? Actually, this might not be as hard a decision as I think it's going to be. Anyway, the first weapon we have is the Tommy gun. Gain +4 strength during combat encounters. So that's definitely a good weapon, but I think this is what we're going to keep for Diana. The double-barreled shotgun. Gain +4 strength during combat encounters, and each 6 you roll when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter counts as 2 successes. We are keeping the double-barreled shotgun, because they both offer 4 strength, but the shotgun offers the 6 counts as 2 successes. So it's the same thing on the blunderbuss, but it just happens. So we'll give that a shuffle. And I don't think anybody else is doing anything else. So I think we're all good there. So I think the prelude's set, and we're all set to get this show on the road. So as I finish giving this a shuffle and a cut, I think for the most part, everybody kind of is going to want to stay put this round. The only one who's going to move is Jenny, so let's go ahead and drop down to the board, and we'll start off with Jenny being our first investigator. Jenny will get the 1 and our cool lead investigator token. I was trying to hold the die in place, that'll work. So there's the 1 and our cool lead investigator token. We got a little bit of a long shot, but not too bad. So Jenny's going to move down to Buenos Aires, and then she's going to use her component action on herself. So we'll grab the dice tower, bring that in shot. Then we'll grab 6 dice. 4 for her influence, plus 2 from her component action. And because of the fine jewelry, we can add 1 to the result. Okay, that's 4 successes. So let's move down to the reserve with those 4 successes. Unfortunately, I couldn't add 1 to any of those with the fine jewelry to make another success, but let's move down. Okay, we do need clues at this point, and 4 successes actually does not mean I need the debt wipe for what I'm going to do here. Plus, I can leave the debt wipe for somebody else. So I'm going to grab the Grim Lexicon and the Otherworld Codex. The Grim Lexicon I mostly want to get for the actually the Grim Lexicon I kind of want for both the clue and for the reducing horror, because we are going to be sending Jenny into a decent amount of combat in this game, most likely. So we'll bring that over. I'll grab Jenny her clue in a second. Then the Otherworld Codex gives her +1 lore and +1 will. And then we get to play with the top gate and the gate stack revealed. So first, we'll get Jenny her clue. So this is halfway to being able to confront one of the cannibals up in the northern hemisphere. There's Jenny's clue. We'll move that over to her. And then for the top of the gate stack corresponds to Tokyo. So definitely want to try to keep an eye on Tokyo, make sure that gets closed if we can. But anyway, we need 2 new assets for the reserve. So first up we will find handcuffs. 2 cost to acquire. Before resolving the strength test during a combat encounter, you may spend 1 focus to defeat that monster if it has 2 toughness or less. And 45 automatic, gain +3 strength during combat encounters. Anyway, that will do it for Jenny. Now let's move up to our second investigator for this round will be Monty. Monty's turn. Monty's going to get the 2 on our sequence, and his turn is going to be very simple. He's going to get a focus. Because again, we need those. And he's going to get a resource, because there's really not much else for him to do right now, given that he's on a wilderness space. Anyway, that will do it for Monty. Our third investigator will be Diana. Diana's turn is going to consist of getting a focus for action 1. Come on. There we are. Action 2, she is going to prepare for travel and grab a ship ticket. Yeah, she's going to grab a ship ticket. Because that's all she can grab right now. And also she's going to get the 3 on the dice, which means I'll give the 4 over to Lily. Actually, Diana could grab a train ticket from here, but given that we don't have enough clues right now, that's not going to be very helpful. So our last investigator will actually be Lily. Lily's turn is going to look very similar to Monty and Diana's. She's going to start off with getting a focus. There we are. And she is also going to prepare for... Is she going to prepare for travel, or do I want her to try to acquire some assets? Let's have her acquire some assets. I've never been sure about the blunderbuss, so we're going to try to get her something a little bit better. Maybe better isn't the word I want. Maybe the word I want is more reliable. But where am I going to put the dice tower here? I've got too much stuff going on here. We'll put it there. So her influence is only 2, but we do need to remember that the debt wipe is available if we need it, and I have a feeling we will. Short of rolling a natural 2 successes, we probably are going to need the debt wipe. To my shock, we actually roll a success, which opens up our options a little bit. So let's move down. Let's move down to the reserve. I could use the debt wipe to grab something with the idea of passing it off. I am going to have to use the debt wipe here, but I'm going to use the debt wipe to get Lily another powerful weapon. So we'll grab her the carbine rifle. Once per round, you may gain +5 strength during a combat encounter. So we just don't want her to start having to do a bunch of fighting all in the same round. Anyway, we need a new asset for the reserve, so we'll find the .38 revolver that I think Lily tossed earlier. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters. Anyway, that will do it for Lily. Now we're starting to get a lot of weapons out there. With that, we're into the encounter phase. That's the end of the action phase. So we'll drop down to Jenny first in Buenos Aires. We're over here with Jenny, so we have a card from the green deck. She'll encounter Buenos Aires. Alright. As you listen to tangos on the radio, the announcer walks into your room and asks if you have seen the yellow sign. You may spend 2 sanity and to gain a blight condition, to gain 1 ritual spell, 1 random trinket from the asset deck, and 1 talent condition. No thank you. With sanity being kind of a precious resource on this team, that does not seem like a worthwhile encounter. So Jenny will pass on that, but she did complete an encounter in Buenos Aires. So that means the Buenos Aires clue from her personal story will go back into the bag. Now, I know you're technically supposed to have a discard pile for the clues that you've used, but I just find it easier to discard them back into the bag. It makes my life a little easier. Anyway, that will do it for Jenny. Now let's go over to Monterey Jack in the Pyramids. Like Jenny, Monty is going to move his personal story along, so we'll go ahead and have an expedition encounter at the Pyramids. Come on, focus. Oh, this is going to be fun. Ah, forget it. Let's do it like that. Come on. There we go, the Pyramids. Inside a hidden chamber, you find a funerary boat large enough for you to board. Resolve the pass effect to stand on the deck of the boat, or resolve the fail to try to get the boat out of the chamber. I'm trying to cover up the pass, but I can see the fail effect. Stand on the deck of the boat. I think we'll go ahead and resolve the fail. The pass wouldn't have been any better. As you move the boat, a hidden pressure plate activates a trap. Observation -1. So we need so Monterey's observation is 3, -1 is 2. Now, it might be tempting to use the focus here, but we have to remember, if we get a reckoning, everybody who basically doesn't have a focus gets a hypothermia condition. I think I will go ahead and burn the focus, though. Against Ithaqua, there's really nothing we can do with hypothermias. They're going to be going out like crazy. So I think we're just going to bite the bullet here. Because these expedition encounters are usually good for artifacts or advancing the mystery. We do get a pass there. That is a 5, so we have passed. It costs us our focus and potentially a hypothermia condition, but if you pass, you avoid the trap and find a treasure beneath the pressure plate. Gain 1 artifact. And we won't bother with the fail. So the first artifact that we get a fetch stick. He found a stick. Item magical weapon. Gain +6 strength during combat encounters. If you defeat a monster during a combat encounter, gain 1 clue. So remember how I was mentioning earlier about the plus? Yeah. I think we got something a lot more powerful than that. So when Monty goes to fight something, he'll get the +6 from the fetch stick instead of the +1 from the bullwhip. But he will still be able to use the reroll from the bullwhip. Anyway, we do get to put an Eldritch token on his personal story. And then that will do it for Monty. Now let's go back over to Diana in Columbia. Oh, before we move over to Diana, I will mention that the X will get the dice tower over toward Diana's shot here. But the expedition encounter is moving to London. So we're going to start working Monty toward his... We're going to start working Monty toward his treasure map. But the expedition token is moving to London. Anyway, now that we'll do it for Monty, now let's go pay Diana her visit. Diana gets stuck with a generic city encounter since she's still in Columbia. Not a named city, so we find. You make sure no one is watching before sneaking out of the shop with your stolen goods. Observation. Uh-oh. Diana's observation... Well, Diana's observation is actually pretty good at 3. And Diana has passed, so... If you pass, gain 1 item asset from the reserve or 1 random item asset from the deck. And I won't bother about the fail because we didn't fail. So I'll bring the dice tower toward Lily for her encounter, but we'll move back down to the reserve for Diana. We have all weapons right now in the reserve, and Diana was making googly eyes at this anyway, so she's just going to snap the Ankh up. So she's going to gain +2 lore when resolving spell effects, and +2 will when resolving combat encounters. As you remember, her passive lets her reduce the horror of monsters she encounters to 1, so boosting her will is actually a very good thing to do. Then a new asset for the reserve is the Dream Box, Trinket Magical. When you close a gate during an Otherworld encounter, gain 1 focus. If that gate corresponds to the current omen, recover 1 sanity. Okay, so that's something else very good to have. And now we'll move over to Shanghai with Lily. We have a really interesting decision with Lily here, because Shanghai offers her skill improvements, which she needs for her personal story, but we need the clue for the mystery. So I think we plan on parking her there. I think I want to do both, but the question is, what do I want to do first? Let's go for the skill improvement first. We can have her do the clue next round. Anyway, we'll encounter Shanghai. For the right price, you can gain access to dangerous texts from the Forbidden Library Siku Jinshu influence. Lily's influence is pretty rubbish at 2. Apparently her influence is good enough, though. We do get a pass. Come on, this thing does not want to focus. Oh, for the love of... Let me zoom out here, see if that helps at all. There we go. If you pass, you learn Lost Ancient Wisdom, improve lore. So we'll grab a lore improvement token out for Lily, but because of her passive, we get to improve it again. So we'll put that on. Lily is now up to 4 lore. That will do it for Lily, that'll do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move back up top for the Mythos phase. We're back up top for the Mythos phase. As you recall from how we constructed the deck, we have both rumors in stage 1, so we do need to keep an eye on that. We find one of our rumors. So on clues first. So our 2 clues are taking us to space 10 and space 4. So space 10 is actually reasonably accessible to Monty, which is tempting. Space 4 is up here in Canada, which is decidedly not. Then we'll get a rumor icon, or another rumor marker. Here it is. Which is actually what I'm using as my Doom reminder marker on 6 Doom. But anyway. This will be going on Buenos Aires. The nature of these holes in reality has changed. No longer just doorways, otherworldly energies are flooding into our world. These forces are reaching out to everything nearby and pulling it all into the swirling void that exists between dimensions. Drawn through the gate, ongoing rumor. When a gate spawns, each investigator on that space gains a lost in time and space condition. As an encounter, an investigator on Buenos Aires may work with the scientists at the university to return the trapped citizens to the real world. Lore. If they pass, they may spend clues equal to half the investigators to solve this rumor. So we'll put that on Buenos Aires. Mostly that's a rumor we can ignore. And actually the Otherworldly Codex gives us a unique way to avoid it, because as you remember from the Otherworldly Codex, we get to play with the top gate of the gate stack revealed. So as long as we stay clear of whatever space that is, we won't get anybody sucked through the gate. But anyway, that will do it for that encounter phase, or for that Mythos phase, I should say. Our clues are not real accessible to us right now. Lily's on one that she's going to go for. Unfortunately, I might have to use Jenny's ship ticket to get her to another clue. But, Decisions. Anyway, let's go ahead and change... Actually, no, we'll have Jenny still be our first investigator, so we'll move down to the board. There's very much a temptation to try to work through the reserve some more, but I'm largely happy with what we have right now, and I want to make sure that we can get some progress on this mystery before too long. Plus, I also want to play it safe anyway. So Jenny's first action is going to be to move back to space 8, then she's going to use her ship ticket to go to space 10. So I'm going to leave Izzy for a turn, because Jenny already has one clue. If I can get her second clue, then we can start looking into getting one of these mystery encounters taken care of. Then for her second action, she will grab a focus, so that she is safe from the reckoning when Ithaqua spawns the reckoning. Anyway, that will do it for Jenny. Now we'll have our second investigator was Monty last round, and I think he will still be our second investigator this round. So let's go back to the pyramids. Monty is going to leave the gate at the pyramids behind, plus I can probably send... If I need to, I can have somebody come back after it, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. So my plan for Monty in the next few rounds is he's going to start kind of running a loop all the way up to space 13. But I want to be able to get him out of space 13 once he gets up there, so I think he's going to risk the hypothermia condition. So he's going to move up to Rome for action 1, then for action 2, he's going to get a ship ticket. So I'm going to try to fight the hypothermia conditions back as much as I can, but they're just going to be flying everywhere with Ithaqua, so I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid them any way I do it. But anyway, the idea behind getting Monty a ship ticket there is that way, when I get him up to space 13, I can get him back out right away. But anyway, that will do it for Monty. Actually, now that I think about it, he's going to need to spend a turn up there anyway. So, no, I think giving him the ship ticket's fine. Anyway, that will do it for Monty. Now our third investigator will be Lily. Lily is still not moving from Shanghai because I wanted to try to get that clue next. So Lily for action 1 is going to get her second focus to a max of 2. And then she's going to get a travel ticket as well. Which ticket do I want her to get? I will have her... I'll have her get a train ticket, actually, so that I can... The idea behind giving her a train ticket is if I can get her another clue in a hurry, I can loop her back toward... her back toward Istanbul and go up after Space 16 that way. Anyway, that will do it for Lily. Our last investigator will be Diana. I think we're going to send Diana after this clue up here in Space 9. So for her first action, she's going to get another ship ticket. And then she's going to spend both of her ship tickets. For free move, she's going to move to Space 8. First ship ticket to Arkham, second ship ticket to Space 9. That will do it for Diana. That will do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move down. That will do it for the action phase, actually. Never mind the encounter phase. We're going into the encounter phase, and our first investigator for that will be Jenny. So let's drop down to Africa. We're here with both Jenny and Monty in shot, so we'll go ahead and do both of their encounters at the same time. Oh, we'll do both their encounters in this shot. So Jenny is going to be encountering the clue that is a wilderness space. So let's see what we've got here for Jenny. As you trek through the wild, the storm grows lighter and the sky changes overhead. Observation. Oh joy, her observation's 2. So we're probably going to have to burn the focus to try to get this clue. I stand corrected. That's a pass. If you pass, you realize that you have somehow entered the Dreamlands and explore the snowy plateaus. Gain this clue. So Jenny picks up her second clue, which means now she can encounter one of the cannibals once I get her up there. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on that. That will do it for Jenny. Monty is in Rome, so he'll have a Rome encounter. Count Vito Fantati fortifies your spirit with fine dining and good company. Improve will. Nice. Alright, so there is the will token, will improvement going on Monty, but of course, there's more. There's always more. He insists that you relax with him on his luxurious yacht, but you politely decline. Influence -1. Disgusting. All right, we'll re-roll this. We'll re-roll the success, but with an influence -1, where his influence is already pretty rubbish at 2, I don't like our odds. Yeah, that's a 1. If you fail, your nights at sea are plagued by dreams of Father Dagon. Gain 1 madness condition. Well, I kind of knew something like that was going to happen. Anyway, the madness condition Monty gets, I'll find it over here one of these days. EH bad condition. Here we go. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I've actually got this all spreadsheeted out. So he gets a madness condition, he gets terror. I think the red binder's down here. Okay. Let's see, madness condition, terror. Oh, come on. There we go. There's a cut, and there's our terror condition. When you perform a rest action, you cannot recover sanity. Roll 1 die. On a blessed success, 4, 5, or 6, discard this card. Reckoning, test will. If you fail, flip. So that will go on Monty's dashboard. That will do it for Monty and Jenny. Now let's move over to Lily. This time, Lily's going after the clue. That's a city space. The creatures from the north have grown more aggressive due to the storm. The city, like many others, is under the assault of the beastly Nafke. A Nafke monster ambushes you. If you defeat it, you protect the city and its citizens. Gain this clue and one random ally asset from the deck. So Lily's getting ambushed by a Nafke. So we'll start off with a straight will and need 1 success. Her will is 3, and she doesn't get any. She does get a +1 from the protective amulet. So I guess I did forget to go through starting possessions for Lily and Diana. So we'll take a quick look at those. Actually, yeah, I think I did. So we'll go through those real quick here. Lily starts off with a lucky rabbit's foot. Once per round, you may reroll 1 die when resolving a test. Then the protective amulet, which is relevant right now. Doesn't want to focus. Come on. Oh, for the love. There we go. Protective amulet. Gain +1 will during combat encounters. So, starting off with a will test from the Nafke. We get 4 will. So we get 4 dice. What do I do with the dice cup now? Oh, here it is. I'm scatterbrained today, folks. You'll have to forgive me for that. Anyway, 1 will to not take sanity damage. Okay, that's a terrible roll. There's a 2 in there, but we do get our success. We don't roll any of those dice for the strength test because that's strength -2. And I'm going to use the carbine rifle to give me a +5. So her strength is 3, +5 is 8, -2 is 5. So remember, I need 2 successes to not take damage, but I need 3 toughness to kill it. So I may be using some rerolls here. That's a pretty terrible roll, so I'll use the rabbit's. That was a 6. So that's 1 success. I'll use the lucky rabbit's foot first. Do I even bother with the focus here? No, I don't. So Lily takes 1 damage. The Nafke runs away, and unfortunately we don't get the success. So we won't worry about the success effect on the encounter for Lily. Which means she'll probably have to stay there yet another turn. Anyway, that will do it for Lily. Now let's move over to Diana up in Greenland. Let's hope Diana has a little better luck than Lily did. Let's see what she's got here. That's a wilderness space. You are aghast to see a gaunt but familiar face. Discard 1 defeated investigator from the game board. Not that we have any right now. Then a Wendigo monster ambushes you. Alright, so we get ambushed by a Wendigo. And then once again we forgot to go through Diana's starting possession, so we'll do that real quick. Actually, I think I might have gone through starting possessions already. So let me go through them again just to be safe. I know I went through Jenny's and Monty's, but we'll go through Diana's real quick. Arcane manuscripts give us her +1 lore when resolving spell effects. And Wither is a spell. When resolving a combat encounter, you may test lore. If you pass, gain +3 strength during this encounter, then flip. Anyway, coming back to the Wendigo that's ambushing Diana. Start off with a straight will test. Fortunately, we've boosted her will up with the Ankh, so she's at actually a 3 will on that. She does get a success, and remember, even without her passive, the monster's horror value was already 1, but her passive would have reduced that. Then we're going to use the double-barreled shotgun, so gain +4 strength. 6 minus 1 is 5, and we have to remember the 6s count double for Diana. We need 2 toughness to kill it, but 3 to not take damage. Yeah, I think we obliterated that Nafke. There is nothing left of this Nafke, but we do have to... not Nafke, Wendigo. But we do have to roll a die. On a 1 or a 2, gain a hunger condition. So we have most definitely defeated it. I'll re-roll the 6 because I want to see a high roll here. That's a 5, so we don't have to worry about the defeat condition on the Wendigo. If you defeat it, you fear hunger might overtake you as well. Lose 1 sanity and gain this clue. So we do lose a sanity, but Diana gets the clue. That's the important part here. Anyway, that will do it for Diana. That will do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move back up top for the Mythos phase. We're back up top for the Mythos phase, so let's see what the deck is going to do to us this time. We've already gotten 1 rumor. And now we got our first reckoning. So we advance the Omen, which also advances Doom by 1 because we have a blue gate on the board of the pyramids. Then we have a Reckoning, monsters. No monsters with reckonings on the board. Ancient 1. Each investigator gains a hypothermia unless they spend a focus. So Diana, Lily, and Jenny all have foci to spend, and they will. Monty, however, gains a hypothermia condition. I'm just going to pull these right out of the binder because I'm going to be passing these out most likely like candy. And a cut. And there's the hypothermia for Monty. When you perform a rest action, you can't recover health. Roll 1 die. On another blessed success, 4, 5, or 6, discard this card. If you would gain another hypothermia condition, flip this card instead. We have another reckoning coming up in stage 1, so that could potentially be very bad. Alright, so Jenny, Lily, and Diana all had foci to spend, so they're clear. Mythos cards, we have none in play. Possessions and conditions. So I look here, Jenny's clear. Monty's got terror that he's got to test for, so we need the dice tower in shot. Right, so he tests will on his terror. If he fails, he's got to flip it. And we're stuck, but he's already not flipping. Ugh, that's a terrible success. But at least we got the success we needed. So we don't flip terror. Lily's clear and Diana's clear. So that's possessions and conditions. Then we spawn the aforementioned Tokyo Gate. And we'll see what's on top of the gate stack once we pull our monster out. Alright, so let's find out what gate we have on top of the stack. We have Relay Space 3, which is all the way... which is actually just toward the end of shot right over here. So what did I do? I had a stand for this. Thought I did. Oh, the stand is for Tokyo. Never mind. So Relay is our next gate stack, so we need to keep away from that if we can. But we need a monster to go to Tokyo. We find a flying polyp. Ooh, this one's got a reckoning too. Will -1, need 2 successes to not lose health or sanity. Strength -2, 2 successes to not lose health. 4 toughness to kill it. And on a reckoning, move this monster to the nearest space containing a gate. Oh joy. Okay, that's going to be a bit of a problem. And then we look at our actual event. Sitting down for a simple meal in a restaurant, it strikes you how alien the people around you seem. After everything you've seen and all the arcane secrets you have learned, can you truly think of yourself as one of them? The maitre d' asks you to please stop carving into the table with the knife. Treacherous Magic Event. Each investigator may discard any number of spells and then loses 1 sanity for each spell they have. Each investigator that lost sanity from this effect also gains a madness condition. So, the only one who's got a spell right now is Diana, and yeah, with the double-barreled shotgun, I think she's going to toss her wither out. That seems like a no-brainer to me. That was an easy Mythos phase. Nothing too crazy to it, but that will do it for the Mythos phase. Now we're into a fresh action phase. And I think this time our first investigator will be Monty. Actually, since we have Monty, Jenny, and Diana all in shot here, we're going to have Monty go first. He's going to move up to London, and then he's going to get a focus token because I don't want to flip this hypothermia condition he's got if I can help it. So we're going to try to protect from that. Then Jenny will get the 2. I'm deciding if I want to send her after Gates or if I want to keep working on the mystery, because we are making headway on that. I think I'm going to split the difference, because we're not... The Omen has another 2 rotations before we get back to blue. So I think Jenny's going to move to Rome, and then she's going to grab a focus... Yeah, she's going to grab a focus token as well. Because I don't want to take the gamble of getting... 2 focus or 2 reckonings in a row. Then Diana, no bonus points for guessing what her turn's going to look like. She's going to move to Arkham and also get a focus token. Because again, I want to keep hypothermia to a minimum in this game. That will do it for those 3. Now we'll move over to Lily. Alright, I need to take one more... I'm hoping to take one more shot at that clue so I can get it. So Lily will grab another focus. And she'll grab another train ticket as well. That way I can zip her up. I can potentially have her meet somebody if I need to. So we'll get her another train ticket and another focus. That will do it for Lily. That will do it for the action phase. Now we'll go into the encounter phase, and we'll start in the center of the board with our first 3 investigators. Since we have our first 3 investigators in shot right here for the round, we'll go ahead and take care of them real quick. So we'll start off with Monty on the expedition in London. You learn that a powerful occult object is being held in the Black Museum at Scotland Yard. Resolve the pass effect to convince the police to give you access, or resolve the fail effect to break in at night. Now, convincing the police sounds like an influence test, and Monty is not real good at that. Breaking in at night is probably something he's more likely to be able to manage, so let's try that. Your incursion goes smoothly until you reach a locked door inside the museum. You try to break the lock using force, strength -1. Okay, strength is 3, so that's actually 2 dice. We'll toss a focus, even though I'm kind of... Ugh! I just realized tossing the focus is probably a very bad idea, because if we do that, then we're leaving ourselves vulnerable to hypothermia flipping. So, and that's probably very bad, so I think we're going to have to eat the fail on that one. If you fail, your effort leaves you bruised. Lose 2 health. That's not a terrible fail, but I'm not happy to see it either. But the expedition encounter will move to the Amazon, which the Dice Tower is actually covering right now. It's not relevant to anybody because we're not going to be doing that encounter. Jenny will be encountering Rome. You speak to a number of Vatican authorities about your investigations. They carefully consider your story. Influence -1. Good thing Jenny is good at influence. She's got 3 dice at this. We'll toss the focus. And still fail. That's unfortunate. Jenny, I don't mind tossing a focus to because she'd be getting a hypothermia condition. If you fail, you are demoralized by their rejection. Lose 1 sanity and discard a blessed condition. So that brings her down to 4 sanity, and she didn't have a blessed condition to get. She would have if this counter would have succeeded, but that's unfortunate there. Diana will then be encountering Arkham. Arcane Rituals take place regularly in the nearby woods. You hope to uncover the secrets left behind by the cult. Observation. 3 dice for that. And we succeed. If you pass, gain 1 incantation spell. Very nice. So back into my spreadsheet. And spells. Incantation we get. Instill Bravery. Instill Bravery. Once per round, when an investigator would lose sanity, you may test lore. If you pass, prevent that investigator from losing up to 2 sanity, then flip. Okay, that'll be handy to have. Especially with a team as low on sanity as this one is. Anyway, that will do it for Diana. Actually, that'll do it for these 3 investigators. Now let's move back over to Lily in Shanghai, who's trying to get that clue. I'd like to get Lily off Shanghai if I can, so let's hope we get the clue here. Searching the library's more esoteric books, you come across a passage related to the previous Ice Age, lore. Fortunately, Lily improved her lore 2 turns ago, so hopefully that will help us get this clue. Indeed, that very much does help us here. If you pass, you identify the mark of the wizard Avon in the page's margin. Gain this clue. So now we've got some options with Lily. With 2 train tickets, I can get her deep into Europe if I need to, and I might. Anyway, that will do it for Lily. That will do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move back up top for the Mythos phase. We're back up top for the Mythos phase, so now we need a fresh card from the deck of Doom. We still have a 50-50 shot of having either another Reckoning or a Rumor come up. It is our other Reckoning, so... Alright, so we advance the Omen to red. We have no red gates on the board right now. Then we have our aforementioned Reckoning. So monsters, the Flying Polyp stays put. Ancient One, each investigator who doesn't have a focus to spend, which this time is everybody except Jenny, gets a hypothermia condition. So we'll give these another shuffle. And a cut. And there's Jenny's hypothermia condition. I'll put that right on her player tray. Mythos cards, none in play. Possessions and conditions. Let's see. Monty still has his terror that he's got to roll for. So we actually need the dice tower back in shot for a second. Okay. And I will put the... I haven't put the expedition token back on the Amazon yet. I will once I get the dice tower out of shot here. Monty does not flip his terror, but that is a terrible roll. 6 and 2 1s. Gross. Right, so we'll get that back out of shot. Then we'll bring that down to the Amazon where it should be. Actually, it goes like that. And I think, yep, he's the only one with the condition, so we're clear there. Then we spawn a gate, so we get the gate on relay. Then on top of the gate stack we have Antarctica. We are getting a lot of blue gates on the board. We're probably going to try to close a couple of these. But I'm getting ahead of myself because we need a monster. Oh joy, we find a hunting Bayaki. It's got spawn instructions. Will -1, need 2 successes to not lose health, or 2 sanity. Strength -2, need 1 success to not lose health, 2 toughness to kill it. When this monster is spawned, move it to the nearest space containing an investigator. Then that investigator becomes delayed. Oh dear. So basically, they spend their turn fighting this. Anyway, let's see who that is. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 to Diana. 1, 2, 3 to Lily. And I think anybody else is closer to it. So... I think we're going to send this to... 1, 2, 3, 4 to Jenny. 1, 2, 3, 4 to Monty. So yeah, I can send it to either Jenny or Diana or Monty. Or Diana or Lily. I think I'm going to send this to Diana, actually. She'll probably have a way easier time dealing with this anyway. So Diana becomes delayed. And then we get our event. Piece by piece, you're falling apart. It's getting harder to successfully negotiate simple human interactions. Your wounds won't stop bleeding, and your hands won't stop shaking. From bad to worse, event. Each investigator loses 1 health for each injury, loses 1 sanity for each madness, and discards 1 clue for each deal. Looking at the board, the only one who's got any of those is Monty with a madness, so he loses his sanity for that. That could have been a lot worse, but we know we've got our rumor coming up this round. Coming up at the end of this round. So we're back into the action phase now. Looking at the board real quick, we have a lot of blue. We have 3 blue gates on the board already. I think we're going to, as much as I don't want to do this, I think we're going to have to take a turn off from the mystery to try to close some of them. So, our first investigator this round will be... I think it'll have to be Lily, actually, and we'll move down to Shanghai. We definitely need to get these blue gates under control. So for action 1, Lily's going to take a focus, and then she's going to move up to Tokyo. I'm going to have her try to take out that flying polyp on her turn, on her encounter phase. That will do it for Lily. Our second investigator, we move that over to Lily, the one and the cool token. Our second investigator, I think, will be Jenny, and we'll move down to Rome. Okay, here are Jenny and Monty. So Jenny will be 2, Monty will be 3. Now, knowing that I have a rumor coming up, I'm going to use that to my advantage to try to get a jump on this mystery. So for action 1, Jenny's going to get a train ticket before she leaves Rome, and then she's actually going to move down to the pyramids. Monty is going to follow similar logic. He is going to get a... Actually, I should have a second Eldritch token on his personal story from the expedition encounter in London, even though it went sideways on us. Anyway, Monty is going to... Monty is going to get a focus, and then he's going to move... Actually, no. Yeah, he's going to get a focus, and he's going to move up to space 13. That'll help him clear his treasure map. And then Diana, I'm not going to bother moving to, because her turn is just going to consist of her standing up. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to back up to Monty for a second. So he's going to move the expedition. He's going to move to the heart of Africa, which is accessible to Jenny. Might be something to think about. And then he's going to move. So that was going to be his second action. Then Diana's turn is still going to consist of just standing up. Anyway, that will do it for the action phase. Now we're into the encounter phase. Let's go say hello first to Lily. Once again, we're able to encompass our first 3 investigators all in shot. So we're going to start off with Lily, then move over to Jenny, then up to Monty. And actually, Monty should have 2 relic unique assets. I usually don't play Monty, so we'll start off with... Okay, that's not a relic. I don't usually play Monty, so that is a relic. That's actually very good. I'll go through both of these. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I'm very terrible about remembering these. I usually do better, but we'll catch it now. So from the expedition encounter in the pyramids, he would have had lost treasure, which wouldn't have really changed anything. Item, magical relic. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Here we go. You may discard this card to add 3 successes to your test result during an Acquire Assets action. When you perform a rest action, you may examine the intricate markings. Observation -1. If you pass, flip. And we have the mysterious idol. When you gain this card from the deck, gain 1 clue, and the idol reveals its true purpose to you. Flip this card. So we'll get the clue. That will do. And then we've had 2 reckonings, so I am going to go ahead and flip this and resolve its effect twice. Okay. Once it focuses, that is, we'll flip it. Alright. On nights when the stars are visible overhead, the idol seems to sing. The statue's gentle lullaby is relaxing. Will. When did he get the terror condition? I think he had it in the last reckoning, so we'll go ahead and roll for this. This is a will test. He's at 3. Alright, so we would fail that. He would have had this second, so he would have resolved that once. Okay. So the reckoning's fine. We're all straight there. And I'll try to remember better in the future. So anyway, coming back to Lily, she's got this flying polyp to deal with. We'll recall our memory about this. Will -1, need 2 successes to not lose sanity. Oh, this is going to be a problem. She's at 3 plus 1 from the protective amulets. 4 minus 1 is 3. Oh boy, that's okay. That's taking 1 sanity. That's not horrible. Then, what do we want to do with the strength test? We're -2, so 3, 5. The blunderbuss will be canceled out. I have to roll a pair of 6s, probably. Let's just take the carbine rifle. So that'll give us +5. So 3 strength plus 5 is 8, minus 2 is 6. And we need 2 successes to not take damage, 4 successes to take it out. That is all of 1 success. I will go ahead and use the lucky rabbit's foot to try to not take damage. Okay, Lily takes 1, and the monster takes 1 as well. Unfortunately, that also means Lily's encounter is done for the turn. So Jenny's up next, and she'll be having an Otherworld encounter trying to close the pyramids. So let's see what we get out of the deck. Past. Through the shifting sands of the desert, you spot a deranged-looking man. You try to follow him, but he abruptly disappears. You search the wind-swept landscape for any sign of him. Observation, and her observation sucks at 2. Right. Let's see how this goes. Spoiler alert, I doubt very well. But I've been wrong before. Unfortunately, I'm not here because I don't have any foci, so I fail. You wander in the unrelenting heat of the desert, forcing yourself to keep going. Will -1, so 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. Now, why couldn't we have had that roll earlier? Anyway. We do pass. If you pass, you eventually find an object in the sands, gain 1 artifact. Wow. And that's the best luck I've ever had at getting a fail condition. Anyway, Jenny finds the silver key. Ooh. Once per round, you may spend 1 less clue to pay for an effect. You may reroll 1 die when resolving a test during an Otherworld encounter. Ooh. That actually means I might be able to solve the mystery over the next 2 rounds. Because it lets me spend 1 less clue. That'll give me something to think about, but I'm getting ahead of myself because we're up to Monty next, and he is having a generic encounter at sea. The Navigator describes his terrifying dreams. You try to interpret them. Lore -1. Oh boy. We'll grab a 6, and we'll re-roll that. That's a 1. I will burn the focus. And still fail. That's unfortunate. If you fail, you begin to experience his nightmares while you're awake. Gain 1 Bane condition. Oh dear. Bane, spoiler alert, folks, is never a good thing. Monty, ends up with a corruption condition. Yikes. Let's see. Bad conditions, corruption. And there's his corruption condition. You may gain 1 Eldritch token to reroll 1 die when resolving a test. If you would gain a boon condition, discard this card instead. On a Reckoning, gain 1 Eldritch token, then flip this card. But on the bright side, Monty has resolved a location encounter or an expedition encounter on space 13. So that goes back in, and we get to see what his treasure map does. As you enter the massive underground library that was marked on your map, you are amazed at the sheer volume of information that must be contained within these tomes. Gain 1 tome unique asset and improve lore, then discard this card. An underground library at sea. I have seen Stranger Things, I suppose, so there's that, I guess. But there's the lore token going on Monty, and now we need a tome asset for Monterey. So we'll pull from the bottom here. That's a tome. Ancient Scroll unique asset. When you gain this card from the deck, improve lore. Once per round, when you pass a lore test as part of a spell effect, flip this card. Okay, so that +1 that Monty immediately already got immediately becomes a +2, and now he's an option as a spellcaster as well. But anyway, that will do it for Monty. Now we got to move over to Arkham and see if Diana can deal with his Bayaki. There's Diana with the sun shining right on top of her. But anyway, we got to deal with this hunting Bayaki first. Will -1. She needs 1 success to not lose sanity. Sorry, my voice cracked there. So will -1 is 2 for Diana. She definitely gets the successes she needs. Then the double-barreled shotgun, 2, 6, -2 is 4. But remember, because of the shotgun, 6s count as double. 6s count as 2 successes. So it takes 1 6 to take the Bayaki out. We get a 6 and a 5, so the Bayaki is very dead. And Diana will now encounter Arkham. You try to board a hunting cargo ship at the docks to find survivors. Strength. Her strength is 2. We'll take the successes and we'll re-roll those. And we get another success out of that. Very nice. Okay, Diana, let's see what we got. If you pass, you interrupt one of the sailors starting to hum and burn an ancient scroll. Gain 1 non-ritual spell. Okay, that's gonna Let's hopefully we get something that Diana can actually use. Azure Flame. That actually might not be a... You know what? I just had a thought about that, but I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'm not going to spoil it until I show you what I'm looking at. Azure Flame, it's a glamour spell. Each 6 you roll when making or resolving a strength test during a combat encounter counts as 2 successes. Reckoning, test lore, and flip this card. Now, what I'm thinking is I could actually move that over to anybody except for Jenny, most likely. Because I don't think Jenny's lore... Well, Jenny's got 2 lore, but I'm not sure it would let me survive that. But I'll have to have a think about that and getting Diana together with somebody else I can pass this off to. Anyway, that will do it for Diana. That will do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move back up top for the Mythos phase. We're not going to need the Dice Tower and Shot because the next card from the Mythos deck is a Rumor. Hey, would you look at that? Alright. So we spawn clues, which we still do need clues, but we're not in as urgent a hurry for them now as we had been previously. Alright, 2 clues. Let's see where they're going. Space 18 and Space 5. Space 18 is down here in the middle of nowhere. Space 5, however, is on one of our Eldritch tokens. So that actually gives me kind of an idea. But anyway, we'll have to toss that around once we get through the Rumor. The ancient texts speak of a beacon to guide the Ancient One. Many counterfeits and false legends were manufactured to protect its true resting place. Relics of old, ongoing rumor. As an encounter, an investigator on the active expedition space or mystic ruins space may explore the ancient ruins. Observation. If they pass, they find the beacon and destroy it once and for all. Solve this rumor. When there are no Eldritch tokens on this card, and there will be 3, advance Doom by Investigators +1, which is 5. Reckoning, discard 1 Eldritch token from this card, then shuffle the Expedition Encounter deck and Mystic Ruins Encounter deck, unless Investigators as a group spend 1 clue. So we'll get the 3 Eldritch tokens for that. Okay, right now the active expedition is on the Heart of Africa, which is right here, but I don't expect it to stay there. In fact, our first investigator will be Monty, and we'll see what we can do about that. Hold on. Before we do that, actually, don't ask me how I did this, but I forgot to spawn a monster when I had Relay come up. That came up last round. Nobody moved down there, so as long as this wasn't going to move to anybody... It's a deep one, which we had already passed the Reckoning phase, so we don't have to go back that far. Or we don't have to go back at all. Straight Will, 2 successes to not lose sanity. Strength -1, 1 success to not take damage. 2 toughness to kill. And on Reckoning, each investigator on this space loses 1 sanity. Anyway, now that we got everything straight there, now we're back into the investigation phase, and now I think Monty will still be our first investigator. So we'll move out to sea with Monty. We're back here with Monty. I actually just realized that we have a decent chance of finishing the mystery this turn. So, I think we're going to use as a component action to cycle the Expedition deck, which is still the Heart of Africa. That's unfortunate. Then for his second action, we'll move him to Arkham. Or for his action as part of that, we'll move him to Arkham with his ship ticket. Then he's going to trade. He's going to give Diana his clue. That will do it for Monty. Speaking of Diana, let's go ahead and take her second. We'll have to move the camera a little bit. But there's Diana right there. So for her first action, she's going to get a focus. Then for her second action, she's going to move over to space 5. That will do it for Diana. Now let's move down and we'll go to Jenny as our third investigator. Jenny is I'm going to end up leaving... Actually, I don't think I'm going to end up leaving Jenny vulnerable to the hypothermia. Action 1, she is going to move up to space 16, and I'll discard her train ticket to get her up there. Action 2, she'll take a focus. So I'm not vulnerable to her hypothermia flipping. That will do it for Jenny. Now let's move over and see what Lily's doing. Unfortunately, there isn't really much for Lily to do right now because she's maxed out on foci, she's maxed out on travel tickets, unless I swap one of her trains for a ship, which I might actually... yeah, I might actually go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and swap one of her train tickets out for a ship ticket, because I thought I was going to send her deeper into Europe. Then I got that flying polyp on Tokyo that I needed to deal with. And then for a second action, I'll grab a resource. Anyway, that will do it for Lily. That will do it for the action phase. Now we'll go into the encounter phase, and we'll start off with Monty. We have both Monty and Diana in shot here, so we'll do them first. Monty will encounter Arkham. At 607 Water Street in Kingsport, you discover an arcane treasure within. Gain 1 random magical asset from the deck. Nice. Alright, so we'll come from here. First magical asset. Hey, look at that, right on top. The enchanted bow. That was easy. The enchanted bow, item magical weapon. Gain +3 strength during combat encounters. And as an action, a monster of your choice on your space loses 1 health. That could be very helpful to have. Alright. But, of course, there's more. A terrible old man glares at you. Will -1. His will is 3. -1 is 2. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a quick backup. So, as part of the trade action that Diana and Monty took earlier, Diana was going to give Monty the Azure Flame. I'd been thinking about passing it over. I just remembered I didn't realize that I was going to be able to get Monty and Diana together. I forgot Monty had a ship ticket, so I'll go ahead and do that as well. Monty will unfortunately fail that. If you fail, he clouds your thoughts, impair lore. That's not a good time to be impairing lore. But alas. C'est la vie. And then Diana is going to get ambushed by... Then Diana, for her encounter, there is an Eldritch token behind her. It's hard to see. In fact, I'll do it like this, so you can see what all's there. But Diana is going to get ambushed by the Wendigo. So we'll start off with a straight will test, which gives her 3 dice. I'm not going to roll those ones. She does succeed, and then strength -1. So she's got the shotgun for 4. She's at 6. -1 is 5. And again, 6s count for 2 successes. And we need 2 toughness to take it out. Diana very much obliterates the Wendigo, and then she'll spend her 2 clues. I will roll for Diana's chance at a hunger condition in a second, but she'll put the Eldritch token on the mystery. So now I'll take the 6 and roll it for a hunger condition for Diana. That is a 2, so Diana does gain a hunger condition. Here we go. Hunger conditions. Alright. There is Diana's hunger condition. When you perform a rest action, you cannot recover sanity. Roll 1 die. On a blessed success, discard this card. Reckoning, test will. If you fail, flip. Okay, unfortunately, this is where Diana's 1 will is probably going to come back to bite us. But that will do it for Diana and Monty. Now let's start working our way east, and we'll stop with Jenny first. Correction. We'll get both Jenny and Lillian shot, and Jenny will start off by being ambushed by the same Wendigo that Diana was ambushed by. So, straight will. Jenny's got +1 from the Otherworld Codex, so she's at 4 will. She will get a success on that, so she doesn't lose any sanity. Then strength -1. She's got 5. She's at 7. -1 is 6. And she can reroll. What can she reroll? She can reroll 2 matching results when. Oh! She's actually +1 because of the 25 automatic. So she's at 7. So she's at 2, 7, 8. -1 is 7. And she can reroll 2 matching results when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. So 7. We'll re-roll these 2 2s. We do get the success we need. Actually, Jenny does take 1 damage. But she does get to take out the Wendigo. We'll roll for the hunger condition. I'll take 3 here. Jenny does, unlike Diana, Jenny does not gain the hunger condition. And then because of the silver key, she will spend 1 less clue to put the Eldritch token there on the mystery. And then we remember that we need half the investigators, so as long as nothing goes crazy in the Mythos phase, it will be fine there. And then Lily still has to deal with the flying polyp there, so will -1. She's at 4. -1 is 3. We get 1 success, so Lily takes 1 sanity. And then she'll use the carbine rifle once again. So 4, so strength -2. So she's at 3 + 5 is 8, -2 is 6. Oh boy. Okay, Lucky Rabbit's Foot for a reroll. Did that take 1 or 2 damage? I think that took 1. If this isn't a success... Okay, that is a success, so I will spend a focus. I just need 1 more success. Which we get. So the Flying Polyp has been defeated. Only cost me 2 turns. And then Lily will encounter the gate. So we'll try to get Blue Gate somewhat under control here. Especially since everything now involves gate movement. Or omen movement. Yuggoth. You find a dead Migo that was carrying a large container of the strange metal known as Tackle. Although valuable, the substance is also extremely heavy, and the container proves difficult to move, strength -1. We're at 3, so this is 2 dice. I'll take these 2 successes. And we'll roll these. Okay, we get a pass. You hope to trade the Tackle to the Migo in exchange for their help. Influence -1. That'll be a laugh with Lily. 1 die. Give me a break. Do we bite the bullet, or do we spend the focus, or do we just eat the fail? Lily would pick up a hypothermia condition. She doesn't have one to flip, thankfully. I think we just bite the bullet and spend the focus. Especially since I really want to get these gates under control if I can. Rats. We can come up just short. If you fail, the Migo use a device to seal both the container and your memories. Gain an amnesia condition. Oh joy. Just what we need. Come on. There we go. That's annoying, but nothing I can do there. Alright, amnesia. There we go. Amnesia Madness. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die. On a 5 or 6, discard this card. Reckoning, test will. If you fail, flip. So that will go to Lily, and then we'll move back up top for the Mythos phase, since that was the end of the encounter phase. Okay, we're back up top for the Mythos phase, so let's see what the deck gives us. Another blue card, or another yellow card. So we advance. Let me get the dice tower out of shot, so you can see. Well, I'm going to move it here because I'm going to need it in shot. Anyway, Omen advances to a blue constellation. Doom advances by 1, 2, 3. So we're down to 9 Doom. Then we have a Reckoning. Monsters. Deep 1. Each investigator on the space loses sanity. No. No. And I don't think we have any monsters up there. Okay. Ancient 1. Hypothermia all around. Jenny will spend hers. Diana will spend her... Jenny and Diana both have foci to spend. Lily gains a hypothermia condition, and Monty's flips. This could be bad. Here we go. Hypothermia. So Monty's flips. Numbness. Your body has become numb from the cold. It is difficult for you to move, and you cannot feel if you have been hurt. Lose 1 health and gain an injury condition. Then discard this card and gain a hypothermia condition. So, Monty goes down to 4 health, and we pick up... For an injury condition, we get a back injury. Here we go, back injury. There's his back injury. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die. On a 5 or a 6, discard this card. Okay, so we've got that. That was Ancient 1. Mythos card, so we discard 1 Eldritch token from this card. Then we shuffle the Expedition Ruin and Mystic Runes Encounter decks unless investigators as a group spend 1 clue. I actually want to shuffle the deck. I was going to cycle with Monty anyway. So I want to get the expedition off the heart of Africa and hopefully somewhere more accessible for Monty. So I truthfully don't mind a shuffle here. I may still have to cycle it anyway. Alright, we'll give it a cut. Never mind, I'm still most likely cycling the Expedition Encounter deck on Monty's turn. Possessions and conditions. Alright, so Monty is going to test... Oh boy. I'm going to have a bunch of testing to do here. So... Let's do it like this. So I'm going to grab a bunch of dice. What did I do with the... I put it down here, didn't I? No, actually. Sorry, I'm trying to find... I've got a craft tray. Here it is. I've got a craft tray with a bunch of dice, so I can roll all these conditions at once. So here's how we're going to do it. Alright, so it's just off shot here. I'll move the camera Actually, let's bring the conditions in shot. This is for Monty. I'm trying to make this go somewhat quicker. So we're going to roll purple dice for the terror, blue dice for the back injury, and red dice for the Azure Flame. I'm trying to shortcut this as much as I can. Let's see. Alright, the terror is a will test. He's at 3 on that, so 3 purple dice. As I knock Jenny over. That's brilliant. Where did that die? There it is. Ow! And the Doom went flying too. Fantastic. Alright, so that was at 9 Doom. Let's see, the blue die is a strength test. He's at 3 on that. 3, what color? Oh, blue, great. So 3 dice there. And the lore I'm using red. So that's 3 dice as well. Alright, so the Azure Flame is flipping no matter what. The only question is, are the other 2 as well? Okay, the conditions don't flip, but the Azure Flame flips with no successes. The magic begins to crack your mind. Gain 1 madness condition unless you discard this card. Bye-bye. That would be very good, but I don't think it's worth the risk right now. That Azure Flame is very good, but I don't think it's worth the risk of a madness condition. Monty also flips the Mysterious Idol. On nights when the stars are visible overhead, the idol seems to sing. Yada yada yada. This is a will test. That passes, so we get to recover a sanity or discard a madness condition. I'll go ahead and discard terror, just to get rid of that. And then Monty gains an Eldritch token on his corruption condition. So we'll flip that and see what's on the other side. You may gain a Dark Pact condition to discard all of your Eldritch tokens. Everywhere you go, bad things happen. A cloud of misfortune surrounds you. Resolve each effect based on the number of Eldritch tokens you have. 1+, discard an ally asset. Fortunately, we don't have an ally asset to discard, so we get away with one there. Let's see, Diana has hunger, which is a madness condition as well, so that's a will test. That is a 6. It's hidden back there, but it is a 6. So Diana doesn't flip that. Jenny's clear. Lily also has amnesia. So 3 dice there. And we've already used her lucky rabbit switch. We used her lucky rabbit switch to take out that flying polyp. Alright, so amnesia doesn't flip for Lily. That's fantastic. These back, and then we'll continue with our reckoning. Now, I think reckoning's done now. Yep, reckoning's done. So now we have gate spawn, which will be Antarctica. Then the gate on top is Arkham. Uh-oh, that's our first red gate of the game. And then we need a monster to go with it. So the monster that's going to Arkham is our first cultist. As we recall, no will test on these cultists. Strength test, 2 toughness, 2 health to not take damage, 1 toughness to kill, and if you lose health from the strength test, you gain a hypothermia condition. So that will go to Antarctica. Now we need to be careful because we do need to try to keep the cultists under control. But more importantly, we have 2 Eldritch tokens on Growing Hunger, so we have solved our first mystery. Now we'll see what our second mystery is going to entail. So we'll grab the mysteries out. And a cut, that's our second mystery. We get Supplying the North. The increasingly harsh winter has disrupted the vital flow of basic necessities to those cities and towns in the northern hemisphere that are now cut off from the world by the deluge of ice and snow. When this card enters play, place 1 Eldritch token on each of the following spaces: 4, 9, 19, and Tunguska. When an investigator on a city space performs an Acquire Assets action, he may spend 2 successes to gain a Provisions unique asset. At the end of the Mythos Phase, each investigator on a space containing an Eldritch token may discard 1 Provisions unique asset and spend 1 clue to place that Eldritch token on this card. Then, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to half the number of investigators, solve this mystery. Ooh. Alright, so let's look at the Eldritch tokens. So 4, what did we say? Space 4, which is up here, 9, 19, and Tunguska. Well, actually, I think Jenny just kind of trivializes that mystery very much because of the debt wipe. But I got a little ahead of myself, didn't I? So that wasn't quite the end of the Mythos Phase. After the noise and violence is over, One of the shopkeepers peers out from his shuttered windows. Amazed to see you alive, he opens the window and calls out, "Is it over? Are we safe?" You wave to let him know that everything is fine. Rally the people, event. The lead investigator gains 1 random ally asset from the deck. Okay, so Monty gets a random ally asset. Witch Doctor. So I think we got kind of lucky on this mystery, but I'll tell you why once I go through the Witch Doctor and move him over to Monty. Investigators on your space may recover 1 additional health or discard a cursed condition when performing a rest action. So that's not very good for Monty right now, but the reason we're so lucky on that front is because because we have the debt wipe available to us, and Jenny has the silver key available to her. So that opens up our options quite a lot on that front. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're back into the encounter phase now. Our first investigator will be... We can have it be almost anybody, truth be told. You know what? Let's actually have it be Jenny this round, so we'll get down to the board with her. Jenny's first action is going to be to use her component action on herself. So, barring anything unusual, this should be a free provisions. Anyway, the reason I felt like I was so lucky on getting that mystery is because our reserve is pretty much crap right now. So, the only thing there might be a cycle it, but we'll see what happens on this roll. That looks like 3 successes to me. So, what I actually will do is I will spend 2 of those per the mystery to gain a provisions unique asset. Open up a jar, stone calendar, stone chest, old journal, agency secrets, Mythos Codex, Ace of Swords, Moon 18, mysterious idol, cryptic text, ancient sword. Let me zoom this out a little bit so it's a little clearer to see. Tablets, shards, fossilized samples, treasure map, fossilized samples, stone tablet, stone calendar, mysterious idol. Here we go, provisions. When you perform a rest action, you may discard this card to recover 1 additional health and 1 additional sanity. Except I'm not worried about resting. Plus, well, with Jenny's additional success, we're actually going to use that to grab the 38 revolver out of the reserve. That way the debt wipe's available for somebody else who needs it. And then our replacement asset... Pocket Watch, 1 success. You can't become delayed unless you choose to. And then Jenny's second action will be to move to Tunguska. That will do it for Jenny. As long as Lily's in shot, we'll have her go second, because this actually fits into my plan beautifully. I think I'm just probably going to end up leaving Izzy and Lily's personal... I'm leaving Izzy for Lost, and I'm probably going to end up failing Lily's personal story. But... I want to try to get these mysteries moving. So I've got some options here. As long as I roll at least 1 success, I can probably have Lily take care of the other part of the mystery here. So we get 1 success, which I will use the debt wipe on Lily to get the pocket watch for her. and use that to get the pocket watch and our other provisions that we're going to need. So we'll go to the another stack of the deck. Wait a minute, these are allies. These won't help. It would help if I go into the right stack. Death 13. Old Journal. Canopic Jar. Agency Secrets. Provisions. Here we go. Alright, so we'll get those for Lily. And then for action 2, I'll go ahead and move her up to space 19. That will do it for Jenny and Lily. Now let's move over to North America, where Diana and Monty are waiting. Alright, here are Diana and Monty. Diana will go 3rd, which means Monty will be 4th. Diana will move over to San Francisco, and then she will gain a focus. And then Monty will gain a ship ticket, and he will also gain a focus. That will do it for the action phase. Now we're into the encounter phase, and let's go start with Jenny. We have both Jenny and Lily in shot, so we'll go ahead and take care of their encounters. Jenny will go first. She's got to fight this color out of space. Straight will test. She needs 2 successes to not take sanity damage. She has 4 will. She does not take damage from that, thankfully. And then, after we resolve a will test, we roll a die. On a 5 or a 6, we defeat this monster. So we'll take one of the successes that we just rolled and see if we can roll it again. A 6, so we do get to defeat the color out of space. Now, before we go into Jenny's encounter, I did forget to replace the reserve after Lily bought the pocket watch. So replacing the pocket watch in the reserve is a news report. 1 success. When you gain this card, immediately spawn 3 clues, then discard this card. Okay, that will give us food for thought there. And then Jenny gets to have a generic wilderness encounter, as will Lily. Some garbage was left here by a previous traveler. You search through the piles of refuse. Observation. Oh dear. Her observation is pretty bad at 2. So we'll roll those dice. Give me all the help I can get. We do pass, though. If you pass, you find something useful. Gain 1 random item asset from the deck. Okay, so we get to get an item asset from the deck for Jenny. Alright, service, trinket, service, ally, service. Here we go, sledgehammer. I'll give this a shuffle in a second, but gain +1 strength and +2 during combat encounters. Yeah. I don't think we're going to be using that for strength encounters, or for strength during combat encounters. Mainly because I've still got the Gatling gun here. Still, that is very handy to have for strength tests during location encounters like this. Alright, now, Lily will also have a generic wilderness encounter. Your food has gone bad, and there's no place nearby to purchase more supplies. Yeah, down deep in far eastern Russia. That's going to be a fantastic thing to see. If you want to eat, you'll have to hunt for your meal. Observation -1. Oh joy. Yeah, about that 6. Let's use that. Because observation -1 for Lily is 1. What was the result there? The die didn't come out. That's a 3, so we fail. If you fail, you have to make do with the rancid food, gain a poisoned condition. Oh dear. That could be a problem. Poisoned. Here we go. Poisoned. When you perform a rest action, you cannot recover health nor sanity. Flip this card. On a reckoning, lose 1 health. Okay, that will do it for Lily and Jenny. Now let's move over to the other side of the board for Monty and Diana. Alright, both Diana and Monty will be encountering cities on their encounter phase. Diana will start off by encountering San Francisco. You find Sarah Winchester's journal on her boat. Her words expand your mind, improves observation. Nice, that's something our team really needs. So there's our observation. But of course, repeat after me, kids, there's more. Suddenly, the craft catches fire. Strength -1. So that's 1 die. That's potentially problematic. I stand corrected. If you pass, you rescue other enlightening texts. Gain 1 talent condition. So the talent condition Diana gets is perceptive. Ooh, I felt that in my knee. Here we go. Alright, here are perceptives. I'll take that one. Perceptive. You may reroll 1 die when resolving an observation test. You may spend 1 clue to reroll up to 2 dice when resolving a test. If you do, flip this card. So that will go to Diana. Monty's encounter is in Arkham. You find an odd object at the ruined Waitley farm. Gain 1 random magical asset from the deck. Okay, so we take the first magical asset we find, and that's the ritual dagger. Once per round, you may gain +1 lore when resolving a spell effect, or +2 strength when resolving a combat encounter. That seems like a laugh. But once again, repeat after me. There's more. Wait, that's Diana's encounter. Never mind. Let's get the right encounter here, shall we? Alright. Shredded notes litter the site. Lore -1. So that's 2 dice. And we'll grab this 5. Unfortunately, I just realized that Monty's going to end up lost in time and space here because I was an idiot. He does pass, though. If you pass, you decode an arcane formula from the scrape, gain 1 incantation spell. So the incantation spell he ends up with is Healing Words. Healing words. When an investigator on your space performs a rest action, you may test lore. If you pass, that investigator recovers one additional health and 1 additional sanity, then flip. Okay, that will do it for Monty and Diana. That will do it for the encounter phase. Now let's move back up top for the Mythos phase. Okay, we're into the Mythos phase. The reason I'm an idiot here is because we're spawning gates no matter what color this card is. And I just moved Monty on top of Arkham, so he's going to end up lost in time and space because of our rumor that can only be solved from Buenos Aires. But let's see what color we get. We get a green card. So we advance the Omen by 1. We don't have any green gates on the board, so we don't advance Doom. Monster Surge, which spawns the aforementioned gate instead on Arkham. And I'll get the monster out for that, but Monty will end up lost in time and space here. And I'll reveal a top gate stack after I get this monster out. It's a goat spawn. Straight will, 1 success to not lose sanity. Strength -2, 2 successes to not lose health. 2 toughness to kill it. And if you defeat this monster during a combat encounter, you may gain a Dark Pact condition to discard 1 monster from any space. So that will go on the board. And then we'll get Monty's Lost in Time and Space condition. Loud. I hate how it does. How the binder does this. There we go. That was a lot easier. Lost in Time and Space. Remove your investigator token from the board. In this case, it'll be Monty coming off the board. You are unaffected by other game effects and cannot move or perform actions. Instead of resolving an encounter, flip this card. Alright, so we'll put Monty over there. And then he's off the board. He's off shot, so he won't matter this round. And then, what did we do with this? Here we go. Then we spawn clues. So we get 2 clues on the board. I'll get the dice tower out of the way in a second because I'm not sure. I don't think I'll need it anymore. So Space 21 and the Himalayas, 2 very out of our way clues. And then, okay. You see now you have asked too many questions. As you have studied, you have been studied, and now dark forces will punish you for your curiosity. Unknown dangers, event. Investigators as a group lose a total number of health and or sanity equal to the number of clues on the game board. So, we gotta get the dice tower out of the way anyway, and we see we have... Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3... 4, 5 clues on the game board, which isn't terrible, so we lose a combination of 5 health and or sanity from everybody except Monty. So I think Jenny will lose 3, and Diana will lose 2, so that card's all handled. Now at the end of the Mythos phase, as we come back to the mystery of supplying the North, each investigator on a space containing an Eldritch token, which is Jenny and Lily, may discard 1 Provisions unique asset and spend 1 clue to place that Eldritch token on this card. which they each have a provisions unique asset for this purpose. Lily will spend a clue. Jenny won't have to because of her silver key, because once per round she can spend one less clue to pay for an effect, which that's this. So we have two Eldritch tokens, one from Tunguska, one from Space 19, going up on the mystery, which is down here. And since we needed half the investigators, we have solved the second mystery. So hopefully we can make sure Monty's lost in time and space doesn't matter, because we are on our last mystery. Alright. That is our last mystery for the game. We find the Nafke attack. Not content to let the weather cause havoc, Ithaqua has unleashed his terrifying minions upon the frozen cities of the world. The Nafke attack with a bestial fury, sowing chaos wherever they appear. As an encounter, an investigator on a city space containing a clue must confront the Nafke that threaten the civilization. A Nafke monster ambushes her or him. If he defeats it, place that clue on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are clues on this card equal to half the investigators, solve this mystery. Well, we need half the investigators once again, and Diana's right by a clue, so that's one guarantee. That's right by a city clue. That's one guaranteed. This could be interesting. So I think our first investigator, for a change of pace, our first investigator will be Diana, and we'll move down to San Francisco. I may end up using the debt wipe here if I get even if I get no successes. But if I can put a clue accessible to Jenny or Lily, it'll be a lot easier to get a clue accessible to Lily than it will to Jenny. But if I can put a clue accessible to one of them, I can probably win the game right here on this round. So 3 dice for Diana's acquire assets. Actually, 2 dice for Diana's acquire assets. But I really only need 1 success. Actually, yeah, this will work. Oh, we got a 4. I think... You know what? I'm actually going to spend the focus to see if I can get a success out of that, because I don't want to use the debt wipe to just get the news report. I want to get something else too if I can manage it. But I think the news report here is too important. All right, so yeah, I'm not happy about it, but I will use the debt wipe just to make sure I get this news report. So when you gain this card, immediately spawn 3 clues, then discard it. So I'm going to discard it first. I need to get this clue accessible to either Jenny or Lily. Either one of them can probably deal with it. Putting it more accessible to Diana doesn't really help her. So there are 3 clues. Let's see where we're going. I couldn't have asked for a much better clue lineup than that. 16, Tokyo, and Sydney. Tokyo and Sydney. Perfect. And then for action 2, let's replace the reserve before we take Diana's action 2. I'm getting way ahead of myself here because I think we're just going to end the game this round. So replacing the reserve is find clothes, 2 successes to acquire. Each 6 you roll when performing an acquire assets action counts as 2 successes. And then Diana will move to space 5. So we're on top of a city clue. That will do it for... I'll give Diana the 1. That will do it for Diana. Now let's move over to Jenny. I have both Jenny and Lily in shot. I'll make Monty number 4. Lily will be number 3. My one goal in this phase is don't screw this up. So for action 1, Jenny will move to space 16 and get a focus. The only difference in Lily's turn from that will be instead of moving to space 16, Lily will be moving to Tokyo. And then Monty's off the board, so he doesn't get to take actions. That will do it for the investigation, for the action phase. Now let's go into the encounter phase, and we'll start with Diana. Alright, nothing cute here, Diana, please. We'll encounter the mystery. So she's going to get ambushed by a Nafke. Straight will first, and she's got a will of 3 thanks to the Ankh. She does get a pass. There's a 5 in there, but it's hidden. Then she's at strength -2. Needs 2 successes to not take damage. 2, 6, -2 is 4. And once again, 6s count double. She needs 3 successes to take this Nafke out. Two 6s, that will work. So that clue goes on the mystery. And that will do it for Diana's encounter. Let's move over to Jenny. Jenny is also getting ambushed by a Nafke. So her will is 4. She does not take damage either. And then the strength is also -2. So she gets 5, 6. Okay, she's at 2, 7, 8 from the 25 automatic. -2 is 6. But she gets to re-roll. She gets to re-roll 2 dice with matching results. And she's got a free re-roll because she can spend a clue to pay for it. Because she can spend a clue for it. We need 3 successes. That's 1, 2. That's 2 successes. We'll use the reroll from the Gatling gun first. We'll reroll those 2 4s. That will work. So 3 successes to take out the Nafke. Clue moves to the mystery, and we will solve, assuming nothing goes sideways, which is very possible, we will solve that mystery at the end of the Mythos phase. So Lily will actually... oh, we forgot to reveal the gate. So we end up with Sydney on top. So anyway, now that we've got our 2 clues on the mystery, Lily will actually go ahead and try to close that gate in Tokyo. Just because why not? The future. You find yourself wading through the endless river of time, indecipherable visions of past, present, and future dragging at your legs, trying to pull you under. You steel yourself and try to make headway against the raging current. Strength, which is 3 for Lily. So we'll take these successes, and we'll roll those. Okay, so we do get a success there. You hold fast and the myriad avenues of the future blossom into being. Close this gate. Nice. Alright. The present is already forming around you, only your own path is yet unwritten. Lore. That's another 4 dice. That's pass. If you pass, you emerge triumphant. Gain a boon condition. Nice. The boon condition that Lily will end up with. Lily will end up righteous. Righteous. When you perform a rest action or focus action, recover 1 sanity or gain 1 focus. Reckoning, you may flip. Okay, that will do it for Lily. Now let's go see what Monty's doing lost in time and space. Monty, nothing crazy out of you, please. You're lost in time and space, though, so... Swarming masses. Among a swirling mass of stars, you discover swarms of alien beings that feast upon one another without hesitation. You try to find your way home without being noticed. Observation -1. So 2 dice. That will work. If you pass, place your investigator token on a space of your choice. I won't bother with the fail because we passed. So I'll put him on the Heart of Africa because why not? That'll do it for the encounter phase. Now we have 1 job, folks. Survive the Mythos phase. Let's move back up top and see what happens. Alright, so... we're in the Mythos phase. Let's hope we are able to pull this out of the fire. We get a green card. Okay, so we start off with Omen movement. Doom advances by 2. So we're down to 7 Doom. It's hidden by the dice tray, but we did not even hit the fail point. Then we have a monster surge on each gate. So the pyramids and relay... actually, no. We do advance Doom by 3, which means both Lily and Jenny fail their personal stories, but it ultimately won't matter. We'll still do this by the book, though. So Jenny's personal story fail is too late. When you gain this card, impair Influence and Will. Your maximum health and sanity are reduced by 1. So we are going to do this by the book. Will... and where's Influence? Oh, here it is. Okay, Influence and Will. And their maximum health and sanity are reduced by 1, but she's already below that, so we're fine there. Then Lily gains the Doomed to Failure consequence. When you gain this card, discard 1 improvement token for each skill. So she loses 1 of her lore tokens. You can't improve a skill a second time unless you spend 1 health or 1 sanity. But I don't think that's going to matter here. Then we have a monster surge, so each of those will get 2 monsters. We'll go to relay first, down here. And we'll pull, whoops, 2 monsters. There we go. Pull a cultist and a firebug. Then we'll go to the pyramids. Actually, we'll go to Antarctica next. A rat thing and a ghoul priest. I'm not bothering to go through them because I think the game is just over right here. And then going to the pyramids, we have a Dark Young and a Jiangshi. So that's our monster surge. We get clues on the board. Heart of Africa and Space 13. And then we'll go through the rest of the card. The conspiracy is very real, and it touches every part of the planet. Every mundane task is complicated by 1,000 small acts of sabotage. There are so few people in the world that you really trust. Trust no one. Ongoing. The lead investigator becomes delayed, aka Diana. On a reckoning, each investigator loses 2 sanity unless on a space with another investigator, then discard this card. But that ultimately won't matter because we have solved our 3rd mystery, and we have 1 Eldritch Horror against Ithaqua. So next week when we play Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, we'll start with an additional item. Anyway, on that note, let's move back up top to wrap this video up. I think the only fly in the ointment for this game is that we did fail the personal stories for Jenny and Lily, and we didn't clear anybody else's. But that will do it for this week's playthrough of Eldritch Horror. Next week, when we continue Christmas in Arkham with the second leg of the campaign, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, we will be starting with an additional item in addition to starting possessions. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.